Having a strong presence in our seas is crucial for all NATO allied navies. Whoa. But unpredictable circumstances mean it can be dangerous work. Any search and rescue operation at sea is fraught with risks and difficulties and requires a lot of cooperation and coordination on what happens when a crisis strikes under the water. At any given time, hundreds of submarines are in operation worldwide. For NATO, they deter nuclear threats, gather intelligence, conduct anti-submarine warfare and support special operations, all while remaining stealthy and effective in different seas and oceans. But what if something goes wrong? We're off the coast of Norway in the North Sea, a great grey expanse stretching out in front of us, and we're here to do a deep dive on submarine search and rescue. I'd be going down to the depths of the North Sea to find out just what it takes to respond to a submarine in distress. Wow, it is a tough squeeze, isn't it? Yeah. So I should have eaten fewer cakes. NATO conducts the world's largest submarine search and rescue exercise every 3 years, gathering sailors from various allied navies to practice one of the most technically challenging operations that can happen at sea.
Normally a submarine, it's something you want to keep very classified. You don't share what you have, but regarding rescue, you share everything with everyone that's a part of this cooperation.
Submarine crises are rare but often deadly, as seen with the Kursk, a Russian nuclear submarine that sank in 2000, killing all 118 on board. After the Kursk disaster, NATO allies and partners formed the International Submarine Escape and Rescue Liaison Office, or ISMERLO, a global coordination centre that monitors submarines and mobilises multinational rescue efforts. It ensures specialised rescue ships and equipment are on standby whenever submarines are at sea.
If you go out in a car and there is a traffic accident, you want the ambulance to come and help you if something happens. It's the same thing with submarine rescue, because we've got people out there, our submariners. We have to take care of them.
When a submarine gets into trouble or disappears, the first step is finding it. I boarded the Turkish rescue ship, the TCG Alemdar, to speak with its commanding officer about how that's done.
We can see the image of the missing submarine. The sonar beams strike to the submarine and comes back to our transmitter. We can provide the image of the submarine and we can decide is it stable or is it inclining, declining. We can see what kind of situation is the submarine also.
Once a submarine is located, the next step is communication. That's where these guys come in. The Distress Subgroup is a team of submarine rescue specialists from the UK who, in a crisis, would quickly deploy to the scene of a submarine in trouble, establish an operating platform, and attempt to communicate with the crew inside.
Once we've done that, a nation can then tailor the response that is taking place and is being planned. Our role then is to remain on station and to provide subject matter expertise to the situation and control it until the large units turn up.
But communicating with a potentially damaged submarine hundreds of metres below the ocean's surface is no easy task. Right now, obviously, I'm hearing quite a strange sounding voice. So what is that and where's it coming from?
What is happening at the moment is that we're hearing the underwater communications coming from the DISUB, and that distortion is because of the sound path coming through the water. It is the water causing that distortion. You will also hear some radio communications as well, and that's us talking to our ribs which are deployed on top of the DISUB site.
Sierra, Delta, Yankee.
International cooperation is crucial in submarine rescue. During the exercise, the Distress Subgroup operates from a Dutch support ship. In a real emergency, combining resources like this could be key, to an effective response.
What we've got here is British submariners from the distress subgroup responding to a submarine that is potentially in crisis from a Dutch ship. And that is a clear example of NATO allies working together in what could be a crisis scenario.
Once a submarine is found and communication is established, the next step is getting the crew to safety. That could mean deploying a rescue submersible.
So behind me here is a Swedish submarine rescue vehicle called the Earth. And we've been given unique access to go down 90 metres into the North Sea to go and try and find a stricken submarine which we'll then connect with and hopefully rescue some of the people on board.
Quite a small space to get down here. It's a bit nerve-wracking though. Although this was an exercise and therefore a controlled environment, the Earth was operating under conditions identical to a real rescue mission. So we've just climbed down into the Earth. We're about to be winched out to sea. Really excited about it, but also kind of nervous. So we'll see how it goes. The Earth is capable of going down to depths of 460 metres and can rescue up to 35 people in each dive.
What's happening now?
Now we're lowering down the water. You see in the front as well. Now we're in.
We've just seen the water slowly fill up apart over the front window, so we now know that we're in the North Sea and we're on our way down. In submarine rescue, securely connecting a rescue vehicle to a submarine's escape hatch is called mating. Our goal was to mate with a Swedish submarine, the Upland. Very briefly, stage by stage, go down.
Localize, go down, on top mate. And then when the water is down, we're going to signal to the submarine that we have a good seal, we have drained down, and then we can open the hatches.
So we're now 85 metres down and we've just seen the submarine. And if you look through here, crystal clarity, you can see that white cross, and that's the sub that we are about to mate with. With the water drained and the vessel successfully mated, it was time for the moment of truth, opening the hatch.
Osthyveln är klar. Welcome to Sweden.
With our submariners successfully rescued, we were invited down into the submarine to meet the commanding officer and see how they were communicating with the surface vessel.
Welcome on board.
Thank you very much. So right now we're with Leonard, who is the CEO of the Uplander. So Leonard, how does it feel knowing that you have this vast submarine rescue support ship and of course the SRV that can come down in case there's a crisis scenario? How does that make you feel as a submariner?
It's really good because there's a good insurance to go out at sea. We never go out without submarine rescue available. We are really depending on the rescue operations. But they are working like a fire station, ready to get out. You hope you don't need them, but they are ready.
The final stage of submarine rescue is ensuring the rescued submariners receive immediate medical care, which could include using decompression chambers like this one to prevent decompression sickness.
The way the system's set up now, we've mated the SRV to the system, which means we can now do transfers under pressure.
Why is it so important that the rescuees end up in a decompression chamber before they go to the normal outside world?
The bends, the decompression illness, so what we want to do is stop that. So we want to get them, if they've been at pressure for long, we can get them up at the same pressure, bring them in, and then the doctors can then put them onto a dive table to get them back to atmosphere at a safe condition.
Rescued submariners, like anyone after a traumatic disaster, may need psychological support in addition to medical care. And when we talk about mental health issues, what kind of issues are we talking about?
I actually would probably rephrase it from mental health issues to normal reactions to an abnormal situation. At the end of the day, what we're there to do is instill the continued sense of human resilience and confidence and capability that every person who is faced with a tragedy or disaster is likely to have inside of themselves.
Submarines are a vital part of the NATO arsenal and crucial in keeping our populations safe. But just as crucial is protecting those who protect us. Submarine rescue is a daunting and difficult task that is thankfully rarely required. But if something does happen under the seas, allies have the resources, equipment, and dedicated personnel to work together to respond to any crisis in the deep.